Hello, Didi.
Namaskar.
So
Go
thank
ahead.
you for this opportunity to share in this wonderful topic. Spirituality is really the link, that is connecting all humanity. And it is that which connects from the heart. And spirituality is something practical. We can practice it in meditation, in our ideation. Ideation means we think deeper, we see more than just a physical person. And in this way, we are transcending, the religions, we are transcending the matter-centered concepts. We are really going into the supreme consciousness. So the supreme consciousness is actually the name for, or you can say, a word for what in the past we are calling God. God, is a very old term, and nowadays we don't feel comfortable of using it. There are many other, I just found maybe around 200 words, like, the ocean of grace, the controlling center of the universe, the ocean of nectar, bliss, infinity, the tranquil one. So that supreme consciousness, the supreme entity, the great entity, it is very key, to our existence. It is where we get the inspiration from, and it is where we get the power from. No matter, we are very insignificant people. We are one of billions, and we feel sometimes so helpless and hopeless, and especially when we are seeing now this incredible global transformation that is piling up and is becoming very, very critical, we can say. And then, the spiritual is actually the one that makes us connected, that makes us, you know, see the purpose of life. We see the young child, the young baby, and we see what a beautiful entity, and who is so innocent and pure and just given by the universe, given by this cosmic consciousness. And here we are connecting, the big picture and the small, and so this and the supreme, that's our feeling that we develop is reverence, surrender, devotion, love. So without this, what we would be, sometimes, the atheists, they ask, so prove me God, it's like, how can you prove God? Something I cannot touch, I cannot see, it doesn't exist for me. Then I say, first, how do you prove that you exist? Prove your own existence. And they cannot. How can we prove? Who are we? We are not this body. We are not even our fluctuating mind, that is driving us crazy. We are something, we don't know what we are. There is nobody inside our body. Our existence is simply not material. Our existence is, how the Guru says, it's the I of the I know I am. That very small part, that witnessing entity of ourselves, that is a real, tranquil, peaceful, above everything, our real self. So we have spirituality, we have the supreme consciousness in so many ways, to address it. It can be our beloved, our friend, our father, our mother, our close guidance. And then we have the goal of life. Once we have the goal of life very clearly, then we are moving towards it. And anyhow, we are moving. We are not standing still. And if we stand still, we actually fall back. So our human, and what is moving? Our mind is moving, and our mind gets the inspiration from the perfection, from the bliss, from that we hope to totally satisfy all our longing for love, for happiness. So that is the goal, that supreme entity, or that, I would say the ocean of bliss or happiness. And we are like the river moving and finally merging into that ocean of infinite consciousness. So the goal has to be very clear. It makes us transcendental. It makes our life an ideological flow, and that moves into that idea of the supreme. So we become, like some people say, oh, I'm very now 80 years old and I really wanted to change the world, and I may not see the total transformation of a wonderful, holistic, ecological planet Earth. And, our answer is, but you are immortal. Your words, your actions that you have set out into the world, those have created ripples, and they're moving the next generation, all those who come after you, you have made the way for them. Everything is vibrational, and you have contributed, and you are not going in vain. You have done your share. So in this way, we have to see the goal, and the goal makes us transcendental, makes us spiritual, makes us love, love that supreme entity who is guiding us, and who is the beginning, the middle path, and the end. And now the ethical, the ethical is ethical principles like what we call jama and niyama in yoga, Astanga yoga. They are the guidelines how to be in this life. For example, the harmony with others, not to harm others by thought, word, or action. This is a very expanded, psychological lookout. Before it was only not to kill, that is a religious concept. Now it is not to even think to harm anybody, and not use words that are harmful. And of course, your thought and words, and then your actions follow. So this is one principle. So there are 10 principles, and these are wonderful, you can say, yantras that help to control our mind to flow in a way that help us to reach the goal of life. And so morality or ethics must have a goal, not just that we don't harm others. It is because we want our mind to keep in track. We want to maintain that holistic being who I am, with my love for the supreme. And I accept these principles because they guide me, they keep me on the track. And then, neo-ethics, for example, is a term that goes with the neo-humanism. At the time, when Sri Priyasarkar, gave neo-humanism, he also gave neo-ethics. And he said there are two concepts in this neo-ethics. One, to accept the desideratum of life, the spiritual goal of life. So we need to speak on that. We need to clearly articulate this goal of life. And the second aspect is that we balance our life with the material and the psycho-spiritual, the mental, which means music, poetry, all these wonderful artistic expressions that, that really fascinate us and inspire us and move us into the spiritual. And there should be a balance between not only matter-oriented, not only this devouring mentality of capitalism, imperialism. So we need to go into a cultural revolution with a lot of arts and music, and give hope to the people who are asking questions, who are afraid, who don't know what to do, where to go. So finally, we come to the last concept that I want to talk in this short time, and that is the leadership. We are leaders. We are Sadvipras. Sadvipra means the constant intellectual, the one who is constantly using the intellect, the benevolent intellect, to guide others, to help others, and the one who understands very clearly, like all of you have given wonderful presentations today, very polished way of speaking, explaining very beautifully from the cosmic down to the dusty earth, how to make cooperatives. It's very nicely explained how this spirituality, how this God's, let's say, spiritual center, supreme consciousness centered mental projection is manifesting in the world. So as a leader, we cannot live without this. It is part of our life. It is our daily practice that makes this kind of consciousness stronger in us, makes our morality, very natural, so that, we feel that, we cannot harm others. Impossible.
So Didi, what is the role of Sadvipras in a Protestant society? So they're spiritual, morally ethical leaders. So how do you see it?
The role of Sadvipras is to be leaders, to speak out every moment and to go into the society and band together. People are looking for guidance. Our role is to really speak on this concept of spirituality and the trust, and the getting the inspiration, feeling the energy, which is stronger than the material force. So we have to organize ourselves. Everyone must start cooperative, not only one, many, because in every block, which is about 100,000 people, we are supposed to have many cooperatives. Cooperatives are the alternative manifestation of this Prout philosophy. Just like education, for example, we start the schools, we band together with others, to really give a beautiful education to the children, because the children are, have to be protected, and we are the only ones who can protect them. So we have to take the education into our own hands. We have to take the food production, the cooperatives, the land, the developing the land, the healthy land into our own hands. We have to do that now. It is not anymore time to be a theoretician. It is time to practice, because people are, when you do something with the hands in the soil, you vibrate, people are attracted. It's a very primordial force, that you attract the people. And I just heard of one man in India, he's an acharya, and he brought 50,000 people to this Prout concept, to the spiritual path of practicing. 50,000. And so when he has a seminar, 5,000 people come, and they sing and dance and meditate, and they organize, such a wonder, and he has a conviction that he is not alone, that force is with him. We have no obstacles, the spiritual thing is that you can do it, no matter who you are and where you are and with whom. There is no difference between the initiate clothes, the devotees and the intellectuals and the atheists and the religious people. We are all one humanity, and the spirituality will vibrate in all of us, and that is what is needed now to come to unite the humanity. Because we are facing, as Dada was telling, a very terrible big monster is rearing its head, and it's exhaling this poisonous air and trying to kill everybody. So we have to just do our little things, wherever we are, and trust, full trust.
So do we have enough Sadvipras, Didi, to initiate a Protestant society? It doesn't seem so, but maybe I'm wrong. And if we don't have enough, how do we get more?
When a high level person, whose mind is higher developed, he can develop the higher mind of the other people. So it's like the author suggests, you impose on the others, you are a Sadvipra. And they are, it was in 79 when, Guru Sri Ananda Murti, he said, now everybody on this planet is experiencing an attraction to the Supreme. So these are holy words. Everybody on this planet, no matter who they are, no matter what camp they are just ordinary humans, but they know there is God. And God is the adversary, that spiritual force. Though the Mahabharata was in India, maybe in Punjab, that was only 18 days. But the effect of Krishna, of Lord Krishna, that was, as Sri Sarkar writes, from the Pamir plateau, from that was like the center, and then from Eastern Europe to Japan, and from Siberia to South India, that was the realm, because he lived to be an octogenarian, and he communicated mostly with kings. His influence was very broad. And we have to research, the footsteps of Lord Krishna of all over the cultures, And so, spirituality, it has not lost, it's there. And this Mahabharata is not finished. That, the Savipra Samaj is in our hands, it's like the last thing, that Sri Sakar, left here on this planet that he has not completed. And that is now for us to complete.
And how can education institutions play a role in creating Sadvipra, or creating this spiritual consciousness, and also ethical consciousness?
Yes, so education has to be very practical, and only those people who have this spiritual consciousness, who are neo-humanists, who love the earth and the humanity, they have to be very close to children, because the children absorb those people. You cannot have, all kind of strange people come in contact with children. Take your children out from the schools, teach them at home, do all the wonderful things with them. We have learned that, those monsters, they don't take care of the education. They don't care about people being educated or living or anything. So let's take the education into our hands. Let's keep the children and, work with them together, instill into them, the spiritual, the supreme consciousness, this arts, the culture, the singing, the beauty, all those things.
What about educating the parents? Like, even before the mother, say, gets pregnant, to have workshops, training, and for the parents, how to be a spiritual parent, for instance.
Yes, of course, the parents, automatically, come into the scope of the school. It's not only the child who comes to school. Yeah. Parents come, and the grandparents and the community. The school is the center, is the social center, and the teachers are the gurus. Very important sadvipras, and even P.R. Sarkar said in education that, the teachers must learn politics, because they have to know what is the trend in society. They have to, see, we have to create a new thought, into the cosmic mind.
And so a new culture, even.
Sorry?
A new culture, a new
culture, a new language, new words, new terminologies. We have to change, for example, the concept, the word God, into so many other ways. So that's why we are the pioneers, we are the leaders, we are the sadvipras, because every day, we have to, the key words, we have to send out in social media. So many key words, on Jama Niyama, on spiritual practice, on especially the supreme consciousness, spirituality, because people are very shy and they speak around it, harmony, energy. No, it is the supreme consciousness, my beloved, my inspiration, my dearest and nearest, my guiding God. I need my, Guru means only one. Guru is that supreme consciousness that guides me. That is the guiding God. Guiding supreme entity is always with me. So people have to understand the clear concepts, so that they can lose themselves in the ideation and feel the bliss and feel the inspiration as we have, experienced it.
Okay, next question, Didi. What are the biggest obstacles for the growth and expansion of the spiritual and the ethical? Would you say, for instance, dogma? Or...
No, I would say all those things are, really on the waning. Really, they're going out. We are over the hill. Now what we have to do, we have to band together. The only obstacle is that we like to be comfortable in our own little corners, individually. We have to lose our individuality. We have to go to the neighbor and say, hey, let's do something together. It doesn't matter who they are, because we have to trust that they have the same values, same divine human values as I have, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And some will be easier and some will be harder, but you will like those who are like-minded, and the others will join. They will benefit.
Mm-hmm. Could you say something about rationality, the importance as being a component of spiritual growth?
Yeah, rationality is very good. It's like the methodical thinking, really study, really research. Like, Dada presented this wonderful thing on history. It's very fascinating, and we need to discuss and research and find things and think how to think, because a lot of dogma and a lot of people just don't have philosophy in life, Rationality means to have a clear philosophy about things, and if we can share even bits and pieces of that every time, don't let anything just, stand as it is, give your opinion, give your input, give your direction into that.
Mm. Another interesting thing is that P.R. Sarkar created the word neo-ethics. So what is the difference between neo-ethics and the ethics that we have in our society?
I think neo-ethics is, I would say, it's really the key thing. It's the supreme, accepting the supreme consciousness as a goal of life. It's so simple, but it's so big. Because ethic people talk about so many things, axiology and so many things, but they avoid going to that point, that pinnacle, existence. So we have to talk about that, and then the balance.
So it actually comes down to doing spiritual practices, in your daily life. Is that correct?
Yes, of course. Spiritual practices, that is where you clear your mind and you totally focus on that supreme entity, and you try to connect and link up. That is so powerful. It is where you really can feel your own transformation.
Do you see a society where on the work floor, in your job situation, people would start the day with collective meditation?
Could be collective singing, collective, in a collective, if it's possible, it's very good. It is very helpful. At least it will inspire them individually also.
Because I heard many years ago that in some Japanese countries, they were actually doing meditation collectively. The people who came to work, one of the first things they did, of course, some exercises, collective exercise, and this is more in Asia, of course. And then maybe China would be one of the first countries, if it were to become practicing, to instill this in the daily activities of their workers, of the employees. Do you see this happening?
Sure, I think they would love it. Yeah, why not? That will be, the challenge of the future is who is more highly developed.
Yes, absolutely.
And because that the person who is higher developed, their service is greater to society.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm going to, Prout has 5 principles. The second principle of Prout is maximum utilization of the causal resources. Could you explain this?
Of the causal resources.
Resources, yeah. What does P.R. Sarkar mean by that?
So the causal resources is, it is to tap into the intuition. If they want to turn off the internet, and if they threaten you with, with so many things, we have to be able to tune into the intuitive realm, go beyond the subconscious and feel the guidance, feel and collect. Yeah. So causal means, the seed, the original, to see the bigger perspective.
Using your intuition, yes, and even predictive abilities, maybe for the future.
Of course, yeah, predictive, of course. for example, we know we have been doing meditation. We know that where we are going. We can see the social cycle. We can see the cosmic cycle. We know where we are. We know where we are going. So this is something very, very great, you know. And so that, you know, on a collective level means to encourage it, means to encourage people to tap into that, to work with that, you know, not to just be to get away from the acquisition materialistic orientation.